Hello and welcome back to my craft room. It's the 11th of October already and I haven't really had proper play with my September ScrawlrBox yet, so I've decided today's the day to have a go at the challenge. Let me show you what we got in case you haven't seen already. So here's the ScrawlrBox. We got these amazing Pitt Artist Dual pen markers. Faber-Castell ones. I love Pitt pens, but I've never had these dual ones before, and it's a lovely selection of colours there. They're India ink, so you can do washes and things. You can use them with water and a brush, but once they've dried, they're permanent. So I think they're going to be really versatile. I'll be able to get so many different effects with them. And I've used Pitt pens before with mixed media pieces because they'll go over all sorts of, being India ink, they'll go over all sorts of things. If you're really quick, you can kind of smudge them out, blend them out with your finger or with a wet brush, or you can just scribble on a palette and use a water brush that way. So also, I'm going to try all sorts of different effects with them, hopefully. We also got this Robinson Lyra pencil and a rubber, and we got this A5 pad of cartridge paper. It's Frisk 180 GSM cartridge paper, and there's my initial swatching that I did. You can see how beautifully these, I've just scribbled on with a pen, and there's not even any scribble lines in there. They blend together really nicely. Okay, so the challenge, oh, there's the beautiful art piece. I love it. Anyway, so the challenge was fascinating folklore. Curiouser and Curiouser. This month's box is inspired by our featured artist's Balkan-inspired illustrations. From folklore tales to unique customs, we encourage you to take a deep dive into exploring the celebrated, bizarre and sometimes dark traditions of your heritage. Play around with composition, patterns, and mix up your mark making to tell your tales and your creations. Well, I had a few ideas for this. One of the first ones that came to mind, I started scribbling some ideas, was the penny for the guy thing. Because, I think kids still do it. I know when we were kids, we did it. You'd cobble together some kind of a guy out of old clothes and stuff it with straw or whatever you could get, old carrier bags, whatever you could get your hands on. And then you'd go around knocking door to door asking for a penny for the die. You'd put it on an old pram or a wheelbarrow or something, and people would give you money. And really, it's a bit strange that little kids are going around with kind of an effigy of of Guy Fawkes, basically, that they're going to... So yeah, this is, I should explain, this is for Guy Fawkes Night in the UK, which goes back to the 1600s, I think it was, when Guy Fawkes famously tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament and was caught and executed in a really horrible fashion, which I won't go into. But yeah, so we burn this effigy of this guy on the 5th of November, and we let off fireworks to remember the gunpowder plot. And it's a bit of a strange thing to be celebrating, really, isn't it, in a way? So yeah, that's a bit of a bizarre and somewhat dark tradition. So I had some plays with that, but I just couldn't, I might come back to that idea later. So then I thought, Punch and Judy. Now that's particularly significant to me because I did used to work as a children's entertainer, so I was a clown called Doodah, and we did puppet shows. We didn't actually do Punch and Judy, but it was a similar idea with a booth and everything, a red and white striped booth and stuff. Yeah, but Punch and Judy goes back a long, it has a long history, and it's not just, it didn't used to just be aimed at children, it was aimed at adults as well. Very bawdy and sometimes quite awful stories of things that happen to the baby, for example. Yeah, so it's a strange thing, and that's not just UK, is it? That yes, so I went with that, and I did a couple of sketches, preliminary sketches. So this is my version of Punch and his wife Judy. But not as puppets, more as kind of caricatures, I suppose. So he's a bit mischievous and wicked, and he's a bit of a dirty old man. He's a bit of a naughty old man. He's a bit of a rogue, but he always gets away with it. And Judy, his wife, is kind of always portrayed as being a bit of a harridan. She's always nagging him. She's always angry with him. I think it's partly because he keeps losing the baby and things, you know. But anyway, so that's her looking well hacked off with her husband. And that's him looking like although I love this paper, it's great paper, but I always find this A5 format is a bit small to work on. So what I thought I would do for the challenge, you're only supposed to use what's in the box. What I'm going to do is actually use several pieces of paper and the box and build up a little kind of 3D scene. So I'm going to end up, I've got 10 sheets of paper now. I've already used one for swatching, but I could use the other side of it. I'm going to do both of these characters. I'm going to create like a mock-up of the window in the puppet show booth out of my ScrawlrBox. This is my big plan anyway, which I'll have to cover with more paper. In my head it looks great. We'll see how it goes. So I did cheat a little bit, and I used some of this trace down paper. This is brilliant stuff because it will rub out, like it's just graphite. It's not waxy like carbon paper. It's just, and you haven't got to kind of do it twice with tracing paper. It's just really easy. And I transferred the images to a couple of sheets of this paper. They don't come out quite the same, but they'll change as I go along anyway. I'll do the box part last of all. I just need to get the characters done first. So it'll probably be quite a long project this, so I'll just I'll speed through and just show you sort of parts of it and play some music, and I'll come back and see you at the end. overall reasonably happy with how it turned out. It's kind of done what I wanted. What I'm disappointed with is that Judy's turned out okay, but Punch, I've lost the character I got in this sketch. I've just, yeah. I think if I wasn't trying to use just what's in the box, I'd be getting my coloured pencils out. So I might yet end up doing that. And giving it another go, but adding in some coloured pencils. The Pitt pens were absolutely brilliant to use. They're lovely to use for covering big areas and doing small details, and yeah, blending together and using with water. I enjoyed all of that, and I know from using them previously you can use them over the top of all kinds of other media, as long as obviously you wait till the layer underneath is dry, otherwise you ruin the pens, but you know, that's just common sense. So yeah, oh, that hasn't stuck very well. That's better. But yeah, it's quite fun, and it was a nice way for me to be able to work on a little bit bigger scale than just working in the paper. And the paper was ideal because it was nice, and it was oh, I can't see now, but yeah, no matter how much colour I used, even when I was like really laying it on, it doesn't come through, doesn't bleed through to the other side, which is brilliant. It didn't mind all the water. It's just a nice kind of texture, and it was easy enough to cut but robust enough to do this kind of thing with, so it was perfect for doing this sort of thing. So that's the way to do it. Thanks very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you again really soon. Bye.